We're so glad you've joined us today, and we're going to make jambalaya in the Instant Pot. Our family loves this dish because it's really nutritious, and well, that's not why they love it. They love this dish because it's super yummy, and I love it because it's nutritious. It's packed with veggies, and we make it in such a way that it doesn't have any mixes or chemicals or fillers or anything. So I love that, and it's very versatile because my husband and I can eat it with less rice or cauliflower rice, depending on how we're eating, and then the kiddos can eat all the rice they want because they're constantly running around expelling all that energy. So we're going to show you that, and we're also going to show you how we make a Cajun seasoning that we add to this at the table. We just have it on there, and then we have that on hand for any kind of Cajun dish that we make. So we're going to show you how we make that. And let's see. I think we're ready to go. Oh, I wanted to welcome the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group, and I'm so glad you guys are here. Please go ahead and share it with your friends if you have friends that would benefit from watching this. We hope you will share it and let them know about us. So you can we're the Cooking Family, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thecookingfam, and also follow us on Instagram at thecookingfam. And so let's get going. Okay, so I've already got the Instant Pot preheating on saute, and Rachel and I are gonna chop up a bunch of veggies. So let me run through the ingredients real quick. We've got celery, bell pepper, and onion. This is the holy trinity of Cajun cooking. And we're gonna put in bay leaves and thyme. We've got kidney beans that we have cooked in our Instant Pot ahead of time, as well as chicken broth. We're gonna use some olive oil to saute our veggies. And then that's about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then don't forget the garlic. So I'm gonna get started by showing you how we chop an onion. Okay, so on an onion, you've got your stem end and your root end. And on the root end, I just don't like these fuzzy little things. So I just barely chop off the end to clean that up, get that out of the way. And then on the stem end, you're gonna wanna cut that apart, and then we have a flat surface to flip it over, and it won't wobble around on you. And then it also makes it easier to peel off that outer layer of the onion skin and get that out of your way. If you see any papery layer, if there's any paperiness still on your onion peel there, you want to just go ahead and get rid of it, because I don't know about you, but anytime I get a bite of that papery layer, I just find it really unappetizing. So, okay, so now when you're chopping the onion, you've got just your nice onion half. I'm just gonna move that out of the way. And we're gonna cut this down at an angle toward the center. We always say like rays of the sun, and go kind of around as you go up. It doesn't really have to be extremely even or perfect. You know, if you get hung up on perfectionism in the kitchen, it really can be very discouraging, and it's just dinner. So fortunately, we're not feeding the president or anything on an average Tuesday night at my house, and so it's not a big deal, and you don't have to be a perfectionist. So I'll show you that again. We're just dicing right down there to the middle, and you don't have any wobbling around with your onion. And if you have a great sharp knife, I highly recommend investing. If you're going to invest in a kitchen tool, get yourself a really high quality knife. It will make your life so much easier, and actually that tool will help you enjoy cooking probably more than anything else as far as bang for your buck. Okay, so I'm going to throw the onion in here, and it's already nice and hot in there, so you can hear that sizzling. And then Rachel's going to take over with showing you how to dice up some celery.
Okay, awesome. Are we doing 3 ribs, 4 ribs?
We're doing, so you want about 1 cup of celery, so that's about 2 or 3, but if they're really skinny ribs, you're gonna wanna do a 4th one.
Okay.
So
I'll just do 4 today.
that's kind of a matter of personal preference.
Yeah. We love celery, so I'm gonna do 4 here. And these look good. Should I wash them first?
Just cut off the
Okay.
end that's got the dirt.
All right.
Abigail already rinsed it.
Awesome. So I'm just gonna cut off the ends because the ends get a little dried up sometimes. So I'm just gonna throw those in our broth bag.
If you can talk a little bit louder, they might be
Okay.
able to hear you better.
So then I'm going to chop it straight across this way. Straight across. And I missed a little spot there. And I'm gonna chop across here. Gosh. And that just helps make the pieces smaller if people need to take smaller bites like little toddlers. And then these are so skinny that I'm just gonna stack them all up together and cut them straight across in little dices all the way across. And that is celery dices, and it's so easy, and it only takes a minute. So I'm just cutting all the way across.
Those are beautiful, Rachel.
Thank you.
Some people think that they don't like celery, but it adds a huge amount of flavor. And if you have people who don't like it, cut it in smaller pieces and see if they just don't even notice it's in there. Okay, awesome, girl.
Are these ready to go in?
These are ready to go in.
All right.
You can put them in that bowl and we'll
Awesome.
transfer them in. I'm also going to salt the aromatics, as one of my kitchen heroes, Alton Brown, would say. We are using a chicken broth that we made that doesn't have any salt. So I just now added 2 quarter teaspoons, which is a half teaspoon of salt, into our onions. And then we're going to throw in Rachel's bell pepper.
That's celery.
Celery. I'm doing the bell pepper. Okay. So we are building a lot of flavor here by doing these aromatic veggies. So we've got onion, celery, and bell pepper. I just chopped this bell pepper in half, and now I'm coring it. And you just pop that core out. It just makes it so easy. You can eat the seeds. So if any seeds stick around, don't worry about it. They can go in, and usually they'll fall off on your cutting board. And now I'm cutting this into strips. And get that one off. And then I'm just going to turn those strips 90 degrees and cut them into dices. We love to find bell peppers on sale and do a batch cooking where we chop up a whole bunch of bell peppers and keep them in our freezer. And that is a great way of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, saving a lot of money on your budget and also having 1 step done of your cooking process. And now I'm going to do the other half of a bell pepper. And bell pepper, I can even smell it while I stand here and cook. It's just so flavorful, and it has a lot of nutrients. It's loaded with vitamin C. I don't remember the other nutrients it has, but I know it's a really great veggie for you and adds tons of flavor at the same time. Okay, so here's the bell pepper, and now Rachel is going to show you how we do our garlic.
Okay, so let me grab my meat mallet. We're using garlic, so I'm just going to take off my cut gloves since I won't be using a knife for this part. Because this paper is so hard to take off by itself, we're just going to smash them with this meat mallet just to get all that off. And then I'm just going to peel it off really fast.
We wanted to do 4.
Oh, okay.
So the recipe calls for 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, and at the Putnam house, when in doubt, we always go for more garlic rather than less.
Yes, we love garlic. It has so much flavor.
And it's really good for your immune system too.
And then I'm just going to take this Pampered Chef chopper. Oops.
I'll hold it for you.
Thanks.
So this chopper is so great. Kids love it, especially little ones, like your medium-aged kids love to chop with the garlic chopper because it allows them. I love to use it with them because it allows a little one to come in the kitchen and help, you can go ahead and
All right.
put it in there. When we are doing our bell peppers, we do not blanch them first. We just chop them just like we did there. We throw them in a Ziploc bag and then freeze them in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. And if you lay it flat in the freezer, it freezes perfectly, and then you can break those up and just grab them handful at a time. They're not in a hard, huge chunk. So, okay, so our first meat ingredient is smoked sausage. And I'm gonna turn this sauteing down a little. I'm just gonna press cancel for a second because we put that garlic in a tiny bit before I meant to, and I don't want it to burn. Okay, so you can just slice the smoked sausage into slices like this. But as a young mom, I realized that made my life harder at the table, because then I was worried about toddlers choking on it. Also, I figured out, so for the choking hazard, I started cutting smoked sausage into quarters like this. It's kind of more of a dice. And then I really liked it. After I started doing it for the choking hazard, I began to really like doing it this way, because then you get more yummy bites with a piece of smoked sausage in it, and you just feel like you got more smoked sausage if you cut it in smaller pieces. So what I do is cut it down the center lengthwise in a strip. I'll show you again on this other one if you missed it just then. And then I turn it and cut it again so that I've got four lengths. And then I slice it, and then we have little dices of smoked sausage. It's spread throughout your food. It tastes yummy, and you get more bites with smoked sausage, and no kiddos will choke on it. Well, no ones that are chewing regular food will choke on it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. And then I said I was going to show you the other one. So this recipe comes together super quick once you have those veggies chopped. Okay, so take your smoked sausage. This is just regular smoked sausage at the grocery store. There are ones that are all beef. There are ones that are pork, chicken, and turkey. There are ones that are plain turkey. There's andouille. It's usually a little bit more pricey, but it's very good and has a little bit of spice to it. Black pepper sausage would be great. So any kind of your favorite smoked sausage is really delicious in here, and you could use chicken sausage, anything that works for your diet and your budget. But we love it. I love using smoked sausage because it is an already cooked meat, and it makes for really quick meals because you don't have to wait for that meat to cook. Okay. And there we go. That's going to go in. And I need to turn this pot back on. I can hear that it's kind of slowed down on cooking, which is fine. There we go. And okay, so to turn the Instant Pot on, we're going to just press this button, and it's already on saute, and I'm going to just press start, and it's on high. If you find your food is browning a little bit too much on high, you can turn it down to normal or less. Okay, so we can get this plate out of the way here. Our next ingredient is cooked light red kidney beans. You can use canned kidney beans, or you can make your own at home in your Instant Pot. And that's what we did. So this is about 1 can of kidney beans. And I already have some over here that we rinsed and drained. And we're gonna go ahead and put them in. That just adds a little bit to the protein of our jambalaya. Thank you, Rachel. And another flavor ingredient that we're gonna add is thyme. We ran out of thyme the other night, so we had a lot of fun.
It was so fun.
Joking around about, I can't find the thyme, because I have kind of a disorganized pantry, And I've got several like partial things of thyme and other spices just hanging around. So looking for my measuring spoons, and I think that they're over here. You know, I'm just gonna do it in my hand. Here we go. Okay, so about a teaspoon of thyme. And I'm gonna show you so you don't have to go find measuring spoons every time. So here's a teaspoon, it's a little bit rounded, and I'm just gonna pour it in my hand so you can see about how much a teaspoon of thyme looks like in your hand. It's just gonna fill up the palm. And then I like to rub it a little bit to just get some of that flavor awakened there. And there's that. And then also bay leaves. Bay leaves are a super flavorful ingredient. These ones are pretty small, so I'm going to use 3. And then you'll want to take those out or just teach your kids not to eat them. Growing up, you were always kind of the lucky winner if you got the bay leaf in your bowl. And then my mom taught us, don't eat it, just take it out and set it aside. Because it has kind of a sharp stem. Okay, so this is homemade chicken broth that we're adding in now. And you can find how to make homemade chicken broth in your Instant Pot. It's almost free to make if you save your chicken bones from rotisserie chicken carcasses like we did. So this is cooked diced chicken, and we buy rotisserie chickens from the big box stores like Sam's Club and Costco have the best budget price for those for a really nice big chicken, and you want to use about 3 cups of diced chicken. This looks like a little bit more than 3 cups, so we'll have a nice meaty jambalaya here. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to add is a can of diced tomatoes.
All right.
Here's this.
Here's the can opener.
Rachel's finding the can opener. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off the top. It looks a little dusty. I love it when my little Lydia, whoever's my baby, when they want to help in the kitchen, this is something really sweet to do with them. Just get a stool, put the baby right here, the toddler, not really baby. She's 4. She's not a baby,
still the baby.
But they can stand here and help you hold the can opener and just be really involved. That you can even have their hand here and they feel like, well, they feel like they're helping, and I feel like that sounds disingenuous because we don't want to deceive them and make them feel like they're helping if they're not really necessarily. But when they are so little and they want to help in the kitchen, that is the best time to allow them in. Take a deep breath, be patient while you're cooking with your little ones, because their hearts want to help so much when they're little, and as they grow older, if you didn't let them in and train them when they're young to help and that they have value in helping in the kitchen, then they kind of grow cold to it when they're older, and then you have more heart work to do when they really could be such a blessing and add such value to your home life at that point when they're older and they're very capable of doing it. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. This looks like my original Instant Pot liner, so it doesn't have the PC Max stamp on it, but this is a 6-quart Instant Pot, and 4 quarts is 2/3 of the capacity of the 6-quart Instant Pot. And that's the maximum amount that you want to pressure cook at. So this 4-liter line is the max that you would want to do. There's also a 10-cup line. I'm not sure we can see it. See, there's the 10. So we're just hair over the 10 line. And so that's my marker on the Instant Pot that doesn't have the PC Max 2/3 line. But yours is probably newer and probably has that PC Max line. And so you don't want to go above that when you're full of liquid. So I think we have everything in here.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm going to go ahead and we've got our liquid, and now we're going to put the lid on. You might notice I got a brand new sealing ring, and that is something that you want to change periodically, especially if your Instant Pot's coming to pressure real slow or it's having a hard time coming to pressure. So there's the lid. We're going to make sure the valve is on sealing, and this one is the Instant Pot Ultra, and it automatically seals, but sometimes it catches, so you do want to just check it and make it sure it's ready to seal. And then we're going to press cancel for our saute that we had it on, and we're going to dial it up to pressure cook. You could also choose super broth, but we're just going to go for pressure cook. No reason not to. And then I'm going to turn the time up, and I'm going to change it to 4 minutes by turning this knob. If you have the Duo, you're going to use the plus or minus buttons. I'm going to check my pressure, and we want it on high pressure. Program, pressure, time. Okay, now we're just going to press start and let this Ultra start up and heat up. So something we've done here is show you how to help your Instant Pot come to pressure a little bit quicker. So we have had the Instant Pot on the whole time while we've been sauteing, so all of our ingredients are hot. You could almost see it was bubbling and starting to boil already. So we had preheated our chicken broth so it would come to pressure a little bit quicker, and that's something you can do is preheat if you want to. It does dirty a pot, but if time is of the essence, you can preheat that chicken broth in a pot on the stove and then add that hot, and so it'll help everything come to pressure quicker. This recipe is awesome for freezer cooking. So because all those ingredients, the meat was completely cooked through, and so you can freezer cook it. You can put it in the freezer either raw, like at this stage, and of course you wouldn't have anything hot. You could just throw in all your raw ingredients into a Ziploc bag and then freeze it raw completely and then pour it in your Instant Pot. Or you can cook it all up like this, and then if you have extra, because this is a huge amount, this is a gallon of food here. We have a large family, so we'll eat this in one, maybe 1.5 meals. But if this is too much for you, go ahead and make all of it, and then you have a couple meals that you can put away in a zip top bag and pull out later, so your work is done now for a couple more meals. Some people will take an ice cream bucket that's plastic and put a Ziploc bag inside the ice cream bucket and pour in the liquid leftovers so that it freezes in the shape of a circle, and then make sure it fits in your Instant Pot liner, because you don't want to have a circle that's too big. But that can freeze in the shape of a circle disc, and then you can just place it right in here frozen. And of course it'll take a while to cook and come up to a boil and then pressure cook. If you have already pressure cooked it, all you need to do is heat it up. But if it's raw, then you're going to want to go ahead and do it under pressure for 4 minutes so that the veggies and everything get cooked and melded together, the flavors come together in there. So so that's that, and I wanted to show you a couple things about the ingredients that we used. I'm finished with that if you want to just take it to the sink.
All right.
So we use bay leaves, a lot of bay leaves, and they can be kind of pricey. So this one is a large container. I'm looking for the one I just used. There it is. Okay, at Walmart, a container of this that's the brand name, like McCormick or something, is about $4. The store brand Walmart one is about $2 for this. But I like to get this bag of bay leaves at the Indian grocery store. The bay leaves are just a little bit different, but we haven't found them to affect the flavor in a bad way at all. And this whole bag is 2 ounces of bay leaves for just $1.99. So if you have an Indian grocery store near you, venture in there. You can find big bags of spices for a budget price and get a whole lot more. So picture this, $2 for 2 entire ounces. This is 0.14 ounces, which is about
a 20th-ish of 2 ounces?
Yeah, or a 12th.
Yeah, 12.
A 12th or an eighth. It's more like an eighth of an ounce, okay? For twice as much money as you get, says you get like 16 times this much for less money. So budget way of getting bay leaves is to go into your Indian grocery store, or another way is to go into a really nice grocery store, a high-end grocery store like Central Market. Sprouts has bulk spices. Go find a bulk spice section in a grocery store near you, and you can get so many spices for such a lower price. Highly recommend checking that out. Just Google bulk spices near me and you should be able to find it. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna make, we're gonna show you how we like to make our magic Cajun seasoning. Wait, it doesn't really have a name yet. And we like to put this Cajun seasoning on our gumbo, jambalaya, what else? Etouffee on the rare occasion that we make that. We should make that more. Anything, red beans and rice.
Yes, we love
fabulous. That. So I'm just gonna pull this over here. And we buy our spices mostly at Sam's or Costco, big box store, these giant containers. So this calls for, it calls for using parts, and what that means is you can make however much you want, and it's just a ratio. So if your part is a cup and you can end up with a huge amount, that would be a lot too much. And normally we make it with a quarter cup can be your one part, or a half a cup. So whatever you decide, just designate that measurement to be one part. And today we're gonna use just a tablespoon because we already have some and I don't wanna have too much, too much on hand. So you need a measuring spoon that's gonna be your part, and you need an empty spice jar. This is an empty container of garlic powder. Don't use one that's gonna fight with the flavor. So this smells like garlic.
Yeah, but
it's fine because there's garlic in it. But I probably wouldn't use dill for this because your final product might take on that dill flavor. Okay, so we're gonna start with 2 parts of salt. So this is, oopsie, pink Himalayan salt. And we're just gonna measure it in here. And so that's 2 parts of salt. The reason we take the time to do this is because, for one, budget. When you buy your spices like this, you can get a lot more for your money. These average about $5 to $8 for a huge amount. So this is 1 pound and 5 ounces of garlic powder. This thyme is 9 ounces, and that is such a huge savings over buying the little jars. So highly recommend that for budget. And also, when you buy a Creole seasoning or a Cajun seasoning at the grocery store, they have all kinds of things in there that I don't want to eat.
Yeah, like anti-caking agents and stuff like that.
Yes, calcium chloride
hydrolyzed soy protein.
Yes, hydrolyzed soy protein, monosodium glutamate. So you can control your ingredients if you will make your own spice mixes, and it's easy. That's what we're here to show you, is that it's easy to do. So we have 2 parts of salt, and we're gonna put in 2 parts of garlic powder. Also, kids really like to help with this. We have a funny story. Do you want to tell the funny story?
I think I'm thinking of the same thing.
How old were you?
Oh, I don't know, 8, 9. I was making this, and
I made a parenting mistake.
And she told me to add, I think it was paprika or something.
Did I do 1 of these or 2 already?
2.
Okay.
It was 2.
I already did 2?
Yes.
Don't lose count.
1, okay. But I was making it, and I accidentally put cayenne in instead of paprika or some red spice.
Yes, paprika.
And so I put in the whole 2 tablespoons or something, and it was so much, and it was so spicy. And then I got some in my eye, and it was horrible. I was crying, and she had to wash my face, and I hated it, and it was horrible.
Yes.
So I was like, always look at the labels before you dump it in.
Right, so she put in 2 or 3 times the amount of cayenne.
Yeah, it was.
My parenting mistake was letting the child handle the cayenne pepper. I should have done that myself, and I do that now.
Yeah.
So when a kid is helping me with this, I always go ahead and handle the cayenne pepper myself. It calls for 2.5 parts paprika. So we're gonna do, here's 1 and 2. And then 1/2 part is going to be about 1/2 tablespoon of paprika. Just put it in there. And now we're going to put it, I'm putting my ones that I've used on the other side so I don't lose track. Onion powder, 1 part of onion powder. And I also love to layer this. You know how we make the
sand, the
yes,
colored
the sand sculptures where you put in the different colors of sand. I just think it's really cool to make this and kind of spread it out like a sand sculpture so it looks all layered before you measure it in. So that was 1 part of onion powder.
Did you add the black pepper yet?
I have not added the black pepper yet. And let's see. So we've got the black pepper. I just use plain old Aldi black pepper, and it calls for 1 part of black pepper. Just pouring this in, and hopefully no one is going to sneeze on the black pepper. Okay, there it goes. And I did just get a whiff of it in my nose. And this is working on coming up. I've got some steam coming out. Okay, another ingredient in this is dried leaf oregano.
Oh, we just got this
We
one.
just got this one.
I love oregano. You can put it in so much, like you can put it in this Cajun, but we love it in our one-pot pasta, Italian. It's just so good. And did I put oregano in our pork the other day that I made?
Yes, she made carnitas.
Mexican, Italian, and Creole.
That's
Cajun.
right.
So versatile. I love the smell of it.
Okay, so here's our 1 part of dried oregano. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the cayenne pepper in just so we can have the pretty layers. Okay, and we're gonna do the, you can do 1/2 to 1 part of cayenne pepper. And it just really just depends on how spicy you like it and who you're cooking for. So if you are cooking for kiddos, then 1 whole tablespoon of cayenne is pretty spicy. So I'm just gonna do 1/2 so that the kids can enjoy this. And do be careful, even as an adult. If you get this on your hands, wash your hands with Dawn dish soap to get that off. This is what they make pepper spray out of. So you do not want to get it on in your eyes or on your skin. Another little tip is to keep your cayenne pepper in the fridge if you ever have had spice weevils.
Because, yes, especially when with these big boxes, they will ruin your entire box.
Yes.
They've eaten chili powder, cumin, pretty much all the Mexican spices.
Yeah.
We have to keep
spice weevils are no fun. So we now keep all the red pepper things like paprika, chili powder, and cayenne pepper in the fridge. Parsley too.
Yes.
So here we go. Here's our pretty spice sculpture. That was 1 part thyme, by the way. And you can find this recipe on our website at thecookingfamily.com. And I think that's everything that goes in here. And then what we're gonna do, see that just filled it about halfway full, and so now we're gonna put the lid on real tight and shake it up. So when we don't already have some on hand, we'll make it in this and make 1 part be 1/4 cup. So if 1 part is 1/4 cup, then 2 parts is 1/2 cup. And that's where your homeschool math while cooking comes in. 1 part, and add those fractions together.
Measuring stuff and mixing stuff is the favorite thing for the little kids.
Yes.
Like, I still love stirring stuff up. It's just my favorite thing to do.
That's right. So fun. So here we have our homemade Cajun seasoning with no chemical ingredients, no fillers, no MSG, and it's yummy and fabulous to just sprinkle on at the table. So whenever we have Cajun food, this comes to the table with the Tabasco sauce. So there we go. Our pot is at pressure, and in just another minute, it's gonna show us the magical number 4. It's gonna cook under pressure for 4 minutes. And we wanted to show you another food prep thing. So let me clean up all these lovely spices and get them out of the way. We love the Container Store spice rack. We have that in our pantry, and it's such a blessing, and it fits these perfectly. Yes, so we're going to show you how we do another batch cooking preparation.
Meal prep magic?
Meal prep magic, that's right. So I love it when my husband brings home rotisserie chickens that are already cooked. I am very much a budget cooker, and this is a shortcut that I am really happy to do. And it really is, some people might be able to argue with me, but this is $5 at Sam's or Costco for a 3-pound chicken. It easily weighs 3 pounds. It has all the bones in there, so I can make bone broth with the bones. And we end up with 2 to 3 meals of diced chicken from each chicken. Usually really about 2 now.
Probably.
That there are so many of us. So this is $5, and a raw chicken is $5. And we don't have to put it in the oven. We don't have to use our electricity or heat up our house, and it's already done. So for me, that's a win-win-win. So he brings home a couple, 2 or 4, depending on what we already have in the freezer and what we have on the meal plan, and then we just tackle this chicken.
Yep.
So when we have 4, it's pretty fun. We turn on music, and everybody stands around the table, and we can wipe it out in about
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
So we get a bowl for the bones. And did you want these?
Sure.
Okay. We put the rubber gloves on mainly because the chicken comes apart a lot easier if it's hot. So if you ever have a cold chicken, it's going to be harder to take apart. And so you might want to just throw it in the oven for a little while. Put it in your Instant Pot to reheat it. At least have it room temp. So we're going to have our meat bowl, and we need a trash bowl for the bones. You want to grab one of those? Okay, so I'm going to take off. These are tied with a little string. You know what? We can probably just use this baking pan for a trash bowl.
Yeah.
You don't want to get this string in your food. So unwind it or take it off and throw it away. Not even in your trash bowl, because you don't want that to end up in your broth. Thank you. Okay. So what we just do is start taking it apart. So we've got like a chicken leg and thigh here, and we pull that off and just start picking the meat off. And you'll have to show your kids what the cartilage looks like so that they don't put that in your food. Here I'm taking the wing off. Just kind of pull that. Have you the wing? So we're just going to put our meat in here. Sometimes, so let me show you how the breast comes off. I usually pull off the skin, and the breast can come off in a pretty large piece. So then you're going to want to dice that up so that it's ready for meal prep. The times when the kids have just thrown this all in a bag whole, and there you can see how that tenderloin separates right there. That's your chicken tenderloin. It hides right underneath that chicken breast. So we're going to want to dice this up because that's too big. Then your meal prep magic is minimized if you don't cut that up into small pieces at this point. And I am telling you, having those bags of diced chicken, if you don't have time to freezer cook, but you can just do a couple little steps like this and have some already diced cooked chicken in your freezer, that is such a boon. This is so I was saying, if you don't have time to do a full freezer prep session, you can just do little things like this that will make your life so much easier when it's time to come up with a quick meal. Because you can use this for quesadillas, soups. We'll make chicken salad out of this. And all the bones and the skin we just save in our broth bag in the freezer and make chicken broth. So those just stay in our freezer, and when we're ready for chicken broth, we have the bones in there. And that is how we do it. So I'm just gonna stop now. I'm gonna take off the gloves. So we've shown you how, and I'm gonna just show you one more step of how to chop up that chicken breast if you have any question about that. But I'm gonna need my knife, please. So if you just take these off inside out, it doesn't even make your hands messy. Okay, so I'm gonna move this aside, and like I said, once we get all the meat, we just put this directly in a freezer bag. Will you grab one of those broth bags? We have bone bags in the freezer, and we'll just show you what that looks like. Waiting on my knife, which is fine and everyone's fine. It dropped on the floor. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we chop this up. Oh yeah. So this is our broth bag, and we always try to label it, but it doesn't always actually get labeled. So this is one in the freezer, and this is what it looks like. And we just pull this out and pull out our bag of veggies for broth and throw it in the Instant Pot with water and a couple seasonings when the time comes. So I'm going to show you how we chop this up. So you see on the chicken, it has the long strips of the muscle fibers. You want to cut across those so it makes it more tender to eat. It's harder to eat if you just pull it apart. It just makes it harder to chew. Yeah. So you're letting your knife do the chewing, and especially when you have little kids that can hardly chew, it just makes it easier for them to chew up. And then I'll just turn this sideways and do the same thing, and I have nice diced chicken breast. You can also, if you only want chicken breast in, you can separate that really easily. We always just mix up all the dark and the light when we're freezing this, but if you want just the breasts, then you can save the dark meat for something else by just pulling these breasts off and chopping those and storing those away separately. So that is one of our little meal prep magic things that I just love. It's become a really manageable thing for our large family. I love freezer cooking, and I've done many sessions of freezer cooking during seasons of my mothering, but I haven't taken the time to do all the planning and everything for a major thing lately, but this is a step that we do frequently. That's just a preparation that we do to have quick, easy meals. And that's finished. And then I'm going to set this aside. And it's kind of messy.
But nothing a little Dawn won't help.
That's right. Nothing a little dish soap won't help. Okay. And it's already cooked, so it's not too concerning with, you definitely obviously want to clean up, but it's not like using raw meat where you have to be a lot more careful. Okay, how much time do we have? Ooh, just 1 minute left.
All right.
And we're going to quick release this. You can let it sit. You could let it sit all day. So if you wanted to do this in the morning, you can just put all this in. You can either cook it right away and let it sit in the Instant Pot all day.
It stays warm all day. It'll still be hot when you come at 6
I
o'clock.
love the keep warm feature on the Instant Pot. It's a great thing. You can also delay start, but if it's going to be all day, you don't really want your uncooked food sitting there all day. But if it's just going to be an hour or so, then you can delay it. I'm going to go ahead and press quick release. So the Ultra has a button where you press the quick release button. Since this is so full, there is a chance of it coming out. In an ideal world, I would probably let it natural release for a little while before I press that. So we're just going to keep an eye on it and make sure nothing starts to spew out. When you have a really full pot, it can spew out your soup, or especially if you have a starchy ingredient like
Pasta,
rice. Beans. Yes. Okay, will you swap these cutting boards?
Yes.
Maybe even flip that over.
Here we go.
There we go. You can take that one. So we can serve this up. Okay, traditional jambalaya, I haven't mentioned this. Traditional jambalaya is actually cooked with rice in it. There are a couple reasons we don't do that. One is it doesn't freeze well. The rice gets very mushy. Another one, like I mentioned before, different people have different amounts of carbohydrates that their bodies can handle. And so the kids can eat a lot more carbs than the adults can in our household. So if you want traditional jambalaya, you can put in some rice and let it cook along with this. Instant pot rice on high pressure takes about 4 minutes, but then you are going to want to natural release it for 10 to 15 minutes for that rice to be fully cooked. And if you find it's a little bit watery at the end, you can just let it stay on saute to cook off a little bit of that water. But the way my family likes to do it is to take just a plate of rice. It's right here. Just take a plate of rice and serve it on top. Serve the jambalaya on top.
Should I put this in one of the bowls?
I'm just gonna do it on a plate.
All right.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to tell you about also that I haven't had a chance yet is beans. These are kidney beans that we cooked in our Instant Pot. They're stored in a mason jar, but they are not canned. They're not preserved. And we just keep this in the fridge. This is about 1 can of beans. And the reason we take the time to do beans is because the store-bought beans are a little bit more expensive. If you buy the store brand, then it's not terribly much. It's not a huge amount more expensive. If you're buying the store brand of the dried beans and the store brand of the canned beans. But we can control, so it is a little bit less expensive if you do your own, but also you can control the ingredients, and there's no preservatives. I looked up the recipe or the ingredients for the Walmart can of light red kidney beans, and it has sugar in it, calcium chloride, sodium EDTA, I think. Who knew?
It's just beans.
So when you make things from scratch, then you're controlling the ingredients, and then you have fewer allergens, fewer chemicals going into yours and your family's bodies, and it's a more budget-friendly option. It's super easy. And we like to always have some cooked beans, and so we'll take them, if I'm just doing it a couple days ahead, we'll keep them in the fridge. They keep in the fridge about a week. I wouldn't do any longer than a week, so if it's going to be longer than a week, these freeze perfectly in bags, zip-top bags. So what I do is just pour this amount into a quart-size zip-top bag and just spread it flat. When you lay a zip-top bag flat, it thaws out. It freezes quickly, thaws quickly. And it depends on your use, whether you can drain them and rinse them before you freeze them, and then they come out perfectly. I love doing that with black beans. Go ahead and drain them and rinse them before you put them in the zip-top bag and freeze them flat, and that makes for super quick lunches of like quesadillas or sprinkled over a salad, because they thaw out really quick when they don't have all the liquid in them. But when you cook beans, you're going to want to put them in your Instant Pot and season them with bay leaf, a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and don't forget to put a little bit of oil, whether it's olive oil or coconut oil, bacon grease. It's pretty fabulous. Oh, yeah. But when you have a starchy ingredient in the Instant Pot and you add a little bit of oil, it helps keep it from spewing out the top at any point. So that's the deal with beans. Oh, and if you want to cook beans, the ratio of water is 1 pound of beans to 1 quart of water, and it comes out just about right every time. So that's another thing that we do to have quick, easy meals. So if you had to do all of these things all at once to make this, it would take a long time. But if you have done these little steps on a Saturday morning, or when you just have a few minutes here and there, it's easy and quick to put it on and fit those little steps into your day, into your child's day. Kids put on beans around here pretty constantly. Hey, so-and-so put on a pot of beans. And they also do a lot of broth. It takes about 3 minutes to put on a pot of broth. And then you have wonderful broth. It saves your budget big time. The amount that we put in was a quart, and that's $2 at the grocery store to buy a quart. So you have your chemicals, and it costs you $2, and you can have it for almost free if you make it at home in your Instant Pot. Okay, and it came down from pressure. That took about 2 minutes. And here we go. Opening it up. We know that this is super hot. Oh, when you're cooking beans, the rough estimate of how long it takes is about 30 minutes in your Instant Pot. But the cooking time depends on whether you soaked them or not. If you soak the beans, you can decrease the time a little bit. If you have large beans, like large red kidney beans or white beans that are big beans, you want to just add about 5 minutes to that. Also add a little time if they are older beans and they've been sitting around on the shelf for a while. But 30 is the ballpark, and the smaller ones you can do for 25. The larger ones you can do for 35. And it's okay if you open it up, go ahead and give it a stir. Give your pot a stir if you're making beans. Taste them, and if they're a little bit crunchy, do put them in for another 5 to 10 minutes of pressure cooking time. And normally you natural release your dried beans, and the natural release time is cooking time. And so your beans are still cooking in there while they're releasing naturally. So here is what our jambalaya looks like now. And I'm just going to get a serving spoon here. And here is the rice. This goes great with cauliflower rice if you're on a low-carb diet or just adding veggies to your life. And it just is so fabulous on top of regular rice, but it also works great with cauliflower rice. It would be great on spaghetti squash or any other kind of carb replacement.
Thought we put on some.
Yes, a
Cajun
little bit of
seasoning.
Cajun seasoning. We're going to sprinkle that on.
It adds so much flavor.
Oh, it's so good. And this is where the spice comes in. So what we've made so far in this pot doesn't have anything with any kick in it at all. So the, toddlers and babies can eat this. And then we add the spice at the table. That was our way of getting to have our spice and eat it too, is to take it out of the main ingredient and put it on at the table. So this is just a little fresh parsley. We got super blessed by finding some herbs and veggies for our garden that were about to be thrown away, and one of those was parsley, and so we just love taking a few snips of parsley and sprinkling it on. And then here's the Tabasco. If you want very, very few carbs, of course you could leave out the beans. Like if you're on a keto diet, you could make this, leave out the beans, and serve it either over cauliflower rice or just eat it as a soup. And it is fantastic. I'm looking for my ladle.
We probably used
or
it
the
last
spoon
night.
I just had.
The spoon you just had is in the pot.
Thank you. That's like having a baby on your hip or your sunglasses on your head and looking for it, or your phone in your hand. So this is also really great just as a soup if you're doing the low carb. And look at all those colorful veggies, and it's really nutritious. And are you ready for a taste?
Yes.
Okay. Get a bite with a lot of veggies on it and some smoked sausage.
That's good. That's delicious.
Fabulous.
Need another bite.
So we're going to have jambalaya tonight for dinner. And we hope that your family will try this recipe. And we hope that we know that you guys can cook with your family and enjoy a great meal together. And we hope that you'll go to our website at thecookingfamily.com and find this recipe. We also have a free mini course called the Fearless Newbie Instant Pot Mini Course that you can sign up for to learn how to use your Instant Pot. And you can cook great meals with your family and enjoy them together. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week at 11:30 Eastern Time, 10:30 Central Time. We'll be back next week. And thank you to the Instant Pot 101 group, for Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group. We're so glad you've been here. Thanks for joining us. And thanks, Gail, for setting this up and helping with comments. Take care. Bye.